We're joined now by Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul, who makes his primetime address to this convention tomorrow night. Senator, as always, welcome back to the Kudlow Report. I want to ask a couple questions about your dad's presidential campaign. I've spoken to him many times. First, do you believe that he got a fair shake at this convention?
Well, in some ways, I think yes. I mean, they were very cooperative in allowing him to have his own rally yesterday. It wasn't here at the convention, but he got to say anything he wanted for hours yesterday before 10,000 supporters, and that was a big deal.
Right.
We also worked hard on the platform. They allowed us to engage on the platform. My dad's signature issue has been audit the Fed. That became part of the platform. We had language that we were interested in protecting the Fourth Amendment became part of the platform. I specifically have a bill that says we shouldn't have drone surveillance domestically in our country without a warrant. That became part of the platform. So we're pretty pleased with how the Romney side cooperated with us on the platform.
I've talked to your dad many times about linking the dollar to gold, which is something I believe in. I know he believes in. I believe you believe that. There is a gold commission in the platform. Are you pleased with that?
Yeah, and it kind of goes along with my father's history. You know, Reagan appointed him to the Gold Commission in 1984. Jesse Helms was on it, and Lou Larriman was on it, and it was kind of a big deal that someone for the first time in 40-some-odd years were talking about a linkage between gold and the dollar. And just to have the discussion again, I think would be a big deal.
Let me ask you now, go broader. In terms of your dad's and your free market philosophy, okay? I believe he calls it Hayekian. I love Friedrich Hayek myself. What will it take to bring those people who voted for your dad into the Republican Party on the basis of a free market policy which is pro-growth, pro-prosperity, pro-entrepreneur?
Well, I think some of them already are in the party to stay, and they are transforming the party in many ways. You know, we took over basically and won in Iowa. The state party chairman in Iowa is a Ron Paul supporter. The state party chairman in Nevada is a Ron Paul supporter. So what I tell the Ron Paul people is you are winning the battle. You didn't win the whole battle this time, but you're winning little bits at a time, and they are influencing the party. What I tell the Republican Party is you need to be more welcoming. You need to accept these people because there's a lot of places you're not winning. Republicans are not winning in California. They're not winning in Oregon. They're not winning in Washington.
Why do you think that is?
Well, because I think that the traditional Republican message isn't resonating with young voters and independent voters, but there's something about the libertarian message. It's a little bit less aggressive foreign policy. It's also a little more tolerant as far as drug issue, things like that we don't want to put someone in jail for 20 years for marijuana use. That tolerance of some kind of behaviors that aren't harming anyone other than the individual, I think attracts more independents and moderates.
It sounds to me like Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan are certainly more sympathetic and supportive of the free enterprise, free market system that you and your dad always talk about. Do you buy that? Are you happy with what they're saying?
I think on a lot of economic issues, they are free market, they're free trade, and there's a lot of room for agreement. You know, I think a lot of times people want to emphasize the disagreement between the Ron Paul Republicans and the rest of the Republicans. Really, the overlap is probably close to 90%. It's 5 or 10% disagreement, sometimes strong disagreement. We personally think that you should get a jury trial in this country before being sent to Guantanamo Bay, or actually better yet, American citizens probably should not be sent to Guantanamo Bay.
Right.
But at the very least, you ought to get a jury trial in our country. And that's a real fundamental thing that if you get down to it, the other Republicans will say, well, yeah, I agree with that. But we've had votes in Congress where they've allowed wording to be in bills, the defense authorization bill, saying you could send someone to Guantanamo Bay without a jury trial.
But just to wrap up, lower taxes, shrinking budgets, are you happy with the GOP message on that?
Yes, and I'm very unhappy with what we have. I'm very unhappy with $6 trillion worth of new debt under President Obama, and I think Governor Romney will and can turn around the country.
That's great stuff. Thank you very much. Senator Rand Paul, thank you. We appreciate it, as always.